Want to understand Canada's economy? Well, forget the boring spreadsheets and dry reports. We're going to do it by looking at something a little more interesting, what Canadians are actually driving. And it all kicks off with this number, 26.8 million. That's how many vehicles are on the road in Canada. It's a huge clue for figuring out what makes the country's economy tick. So that really brings us to the core question here, right? What can millions of cars, trucks, and SUVs possibly tell us about a country's economy? I mean, what's the story they're telling about Canada's financial health, its biggest industries, and maybe, just maybe, where it's all headed? To even begin to answer that, we've got to pull back a bit. Before we dive into the cars themselves, we need to get a handle on the bigger economic machine they're a part of. So let's kick things off with that big picture view. Here's the bedrock, the foundation of it all. Canada's GDP for 2024, $2.28 trillion US dollars. That's, well, it's the total value of everything the country makes and does. All that from a nation of about 41.7 million people. Okay, now this is pretty interesting. Check this out. An inflation rate of just 2.2% as of late 2025. That's a really good sign. It points to a stable, predictable economy. And why does that matter? Well, it means businesses can actually plan ahead. And for regular folks, it means you can feel pretty confident your money's going to hold its value. And here's another key piece of the puzzle. Unemployment sitting at 6.8%. This gives us a snapshot of the job market, right? And the overall financial health of the very people who are out there buying and driving all those millions of cars we're talking about. So that $2.28 trillion, where's it all coming from? Well, it's a mix of things, real estate, financial services, a ton from oil, gas, and mining. But hang on, look at that last one on the list. Automobile manufacturing. This isn't just some small slice of the pie. It is a pillar of the Canadian economy. Okay, so we've got the big economic picture down. Now let's zoom right back in and get to the good stuff, the vehicles themselves. Let's see what the numbers look like out there on the road. Get a load of this statistic. It's kind of wild. There is one vehicle for every 1.6 people. Just think about that. In a country as absolutely huge and spread out as Canada, that just goes to show you how essential having your own car is, not just for daily life, but for the entire economy. So, what's everyone driving up there? Well, this chart lays it all out for us. You've got the usual suspects, right? Toyota, Chevy, Hyundai, Honda. But wow, look at Ford, way out in front. We're talking almost 280,000 new registrations. That is a massive lead over the competition. And this table, it tells a really clear story about what kind of vehicles are ruling the roads. Spoiler, it is the age of the truck. The Ford F-Series is just an absolute king, with GM's trucks right behind. But wait, hold on. Look at that fourth line, the Ram pickup. It's down a staggering 25% compared to last year. 25%. That's not just a dip. That is a huge shift in the market. Super interesting. Okay, so we know what Canadians are buying, but who's actually building these cars? And where are they being built? See, the story is bigger than just what's happening at the dealership. It's about manufacturing, production, the whole corporate machine behind it. And it turns out the biggest names in the business aren't just shipping cars to Canada, they're building them in Canada. Ford, GM, Honda, Stellantis, Toyota, they all have major factories right there. And that creates a ton of jobs and directly fuels that huge automobile manufacturing sector we pointed out earlier. See how it all connects? And it's not just about you and me buying a car for the family. A massive chunk of this market is commercial fleets. Think delivery vans, company cars, the whole shebang. A couple of big players, Element Fleet Management and Patterson Lease, manage huge numbers of these vehicles, and that gives them some serious sway over what kinds of cars and trucks get sold in the country. All right, let's recap. We've got 26.8 million vehicles. We know most of them are trucks and SUVs. So this brings us to the final and maybe most important piece of the puzzle. What does it actually cost? We're talking about the bottom line for every single person who has to fill up their tank. Now, this next part is absolutely key. If we're going to compare the cost of gas to electricity, we need to compare apples to apples, right? So here's the magic formula. The amount of driving you can do on 1 liter of gasoline is pretty much the same as what you can do with 2 kilowatt hours of electricity. Got it? It's our baseline. So, with that in mind, what does that equivalent amount of energy actually cost? Well, on one side, you've got that liter of gas for $1.06. And on the other side, that same amount of get up and go from electricity you plug in at home costs just 24 cents. The difference isn't just big, it's absolutely staggering. I mean, just look at this on a chart. Seeing it visually really hammers the point home. And so all of this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question, doesn't it? We've clearly established that Canada is a nation of trucks, but we've also seen that the gas they drink is way, way more expensive than the electric alternative. What does the future of the Canadian road really look like?
Fleet Mobility Today.